Hi everyone, Cindy Olin here with Create Your Own Life in Love and your host for the Successful Woman's Guide to Meet and Marry Her Man. I hope you guys are having an amazing Wednesday. Send me some hearts, thumbs up, questions. I'm here to answer them for you. And what I want to speak into, sorry, I'm straightening out my necklace. Important pieces. What I want to speak into right now is all about dating and relationships and whether or not you're settling. I think, first of all, what happens around this is a lot of times women, and men do this too, but more or less women, is they'll get into a relationship and it may start off really amazing. Like the chemistry's off the charts, things are awesome. You seem to have a great connection could be based on anything. Could be based on the fact that you were introduced by dear friends, or you seem to have so much in common. And then all of a sudden there's a drop off, right? It's like, ooh, real life comes in, right? And then you might start to question, is this the right relationship for me? And so this takes a lot of, this takes some discipline, and it takes some self-reflection for really understanding that. One, what I recommend when it comes to dating early on is taking your time to get to know someone, not rushing into sleeping with them or getting intimate, because what that can do is create a false sense of intimacy, and it creates attachment. And it can create attachment before even really knowing what this person is about and if they're aligned with your values. So being really clear on what your values are, and knowing that, and I'm going to repeat this to you guys, that it's not a race to the finish line, moving slower in the beginning to move faster later on. And what that does create is a deeper connection, and you can also take your time to identify, is this the type of person that I want to be dating? There are certain red flags you can see from the beginning. And, first off, you are settling. Let me tell you this first. You are settling if someone is highly critical to you, puts you down mentally, emotionally, physically, in any way harms you. So those things off the table. And I don't care, I think there are a lot of women out there that might, try to excuse behavior. Oh, I was having a bad day, or, I was kind of freaking out, so he did that. Abusive behavior is wrong. So if you're being abusive, then we get to look at that. But if in general you're feeling attacked, not appreciated, not seen or heard in the relationship, then that's another story altogether. So it's understanding that if you're being ignored, right? If you're the one that's doing more of the work in the relationship to make it the way that you want it to be, or you're putting in all the effort, or you're making all the plans, then you're settling. For sure, no question. And if there's a rule of thumb, the man should actually be putting more effort into the relationship than you are. And if you're dating someone and he's not showing up, his actions are showing you where he is. And this is not personal. personal. It could be across the board where he's at in his life. Maybe he tells you that a relationship is a priority to him, but his actions aren't showing that. So you could be attached, but you're worth being treated really well. And a couple red flags I want to share with you is this one. Oh, it's good when it's so good when it's good. How many times have you said that, or you've heard girlfriends say, oh my gosh, when it's good, it's so good. But there's a laundry list of bad things, or feeling like you're walking on eggshells, or not communicating, or feeling shut down. Then there's definitely settling happening. But on the flip side of that, if you are not certain, if you haven't really sat down to figure out what it is you desire in a relationship, and if you're giving that in return, and if you're showing up as that woman in return. Now, if you're in the dating phase, he gets to be pursuing you, because if you want to feel cherished and adored, you definitely need to feel that way. You definitely need to have him doing more of the work, because he's going to appreciate you more. If you're in a relationship and you're like, gosh, I don't know, then again, it's time to take a little bit of a step back, or open up the lines of communication. Get really in touch with what your needs are, and communicate them. Like, while I deeply care about you and I really love XYZ about our relationship, what I've realized is I need ABC. And that would make me feel really happy and connected with you. And maybe that's simply us talking at the end of the day, or us creating a date night, or it's feeling like connecting as far as communication and feeling like I'm being heard, or spending quality time together, or taking trips, or when maybe you have children and feeling like you two together are on the same team. So whatever that is that you're feeling the disconnect is, go backwards and figure out what would make me super happy. What would make me feel like I'm the luckiest woman on the planet? Because chances are you picked someone in the moment that, you picked this relationship or decided to date this person for a reason. And, if there's a disconnect happening, then chances are there's a disconnect happening for him as well. Maybe not, but chances are there is. And perhaps there's, he doesn't feel like addressing it, or he's too lazy, or he doesn't feel like, it's not that bad, right? But you really want, not that your love life needs to be skyrockets in the night. It's not really about that. It's about feeling like you're on the same page and communicating through things, and not wronging one another, and continuing to work on yourself. If you're here, you're committed to that. And if you're feeling confused, I highly recommend, and I will set up a link to schedule a complimentary 30-minute call with me, where you can get clarity around you, your love life, what's happening, and are you really settling within that? chances are, if that's what you're thinking, then there's something you haven't been willing to take a look at. And there's something that is not really working. So get committed to something that can work, that can really create connection in your love life. And the way that that can work for you is by making it a priority, making communication a priority, and not blaming, not pointing the finger communication, but like constructive communication. I'm so happy when we do this. I love our walks in the cool fall air, and I've noticed that we haven't been communicating as much. Is everything okay? Or it would make me really happy to talk about things that are coming up for us once a day. It's like, and getting someone to help you, support you in your ways of being, because a lot of times as women, we want to make things right. We're nurturers by nature, and we will overdo or people please to make things right. And, or as a codependent maneuver, not to have to look at other things. And if you got into, if you went quickly into a relationship, or that's your pattern, then chances are there's definitely a disconnect, because there's a good chance that you didn't spend a whole lot of time figuring out if you had enough similar values, and and what your must-haves are as opposed to your deal breakers. And does he possess those really important qualities? Because if he doesn't, you're going to be settling. You're going to be, there's going to be more of a disconnect. And, if you want to be in a great relationship, you have to be willing to go there in diving deeper into what a great relationship looks like. So I hope this helps. Please post your comments, questions, anything. I'm here for you, and I want to support you in having the high quality relationship that you deeply desire, and really creating connection spaces within those. So, disconnects happen when there isn't communication, or they're shut down, or maybe there's a tendency with you to shut down. I can tell you a pattern of mine is, if I get frustrated or overwhelmed, I will go into shutdown, and I'll do it myself. And, today I'm committed to communicating about that. Look, this is my pattern. This is what I do. I don't really want to do that. I really want to open up. And I want to hear about what comes up for you too. If we get triggered, it can bring us into shutdown or fight or flight. And, those things can end up sabotaging relationships that could be great relationships. Or you could be in a space of, dating, and you might have some patterns, or you're, really in your mind, you're not sure that you trust men. I mean, all of these things can be playing a part in the way that you're showing up in relationship, and even the lackluster of it. Or possibly one could be addicted to the high of new romance, because It's an adrenaline rush. There's dopamine produced. It's super fun. But when real life starts to come in, that's when, the real commitment starts. That's when we roll up our sleeves and, look at, has that been a pattern for you in the past? And get really honest and clear with yourself. So guys, I hope this has been helpful. I'm sending so much love. Have an amazing evening, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Bye, everyone.